First tonight on Our News Live at 7, why the Prime Minister says international manpower isn't a part of the solution for Haiti.
The Rastafarian community here in the Bahamas say that they have the solution to Haiti's crisis. To find out what it is, stay tuned to Our News tonight.
And later, how the Golden Yoke program is cultivating steps to food security. And then in Our News at 7:30, a demand for action after a crash on Grand Bahamas Fishing Hole Road Causeway sends one driver to the hospital. Our News Live at 7 starts now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kendino Knowles. A day mission to Haiti sanctioned by CARICOM, bringing the Caribbean body one step closer to finding ways to address the ongoing challenges in Haiti. Prime Minister Davis meeting the delegation at Lyndon Pindling International Airport last night. Berthany McDermott, who has been following this, gets us started tonight.
Monday's mission to Haiti deemed a success by Prime Minister Philip Davis, who says officials identified the common denominators to address the challenges that plague Haiti. Davis didn't reveal what those are, but he did say the way forward doesn't call for outside manpower.
There's no commonality in respect to putting boots on the ground. The common denominator in that respect is that they need collaboration between ourselves and themselves, and not intervention where boots are on the ground.
The mission followed a CARICOM meeting that focused on the ongoing turmoil in Haiti. It was headed by Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness and included Immigration Minister Keith Bell, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe, and other CARICOM officials. The Prime Minister says the Bahamas will assist in empowering local law enforcement there.
Assisting with training, resourcing the Haitian National Police, training the police officers, assisting in them getting back up their institutions like the courts and the other supporting institutions for the administration of justice, ensuring that the other organs of government are propped up and properly resourced.
But how will this be funded? Davis says CARICOM cannot afford the resources needed to address the ongoing issues in Haiti. For that, he says they will need the help of international partners.
The resources will be bolstered by their assistance. And so I'm not concerned about the cost to us in particular, but rather concerned that without that cost being expended, what will then be the consequences? It will be worse.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that, Berthany. Meanwhile, the local Rastafarian community says compensation from a world superpower is the key to solving the crisis in Haiti. Joshua Williams spoke to a high priest on the issue today.
The cries in Haiti has captured the attention of neighboring countries in the wake of widespread violence and illegal migration to other countries like the Bahamas. High Priest for the Bahamian Rastafarian community, Rithman McKinney, says he believes the first step in solving the Haitian crisis is to hold their colonizer accountable.
Haiti was one of the first place in the Western Hemisphere abolished slavery. And we know what take place when Haiti win their independence by a revolution. Haiti had to pay France for their own independence for over the years. And I think, if I am mistaken, Haiti's still paying that debt up to date.
McKinney says while he does not support illegal squatting, he wants those agitating for demolition to be more humane.
Everybody looking for betterment. And say, though, let's break down the shanty town. I mean, of course, you can't just go on people's land and that's squat on people's land and that's people's private land. But we must find the best way to deal with it, because if you just run them, then you create the next problem.
The High Priest is also calling on CARICOM heads of government to raise their voices to first world countries in combating these issues.
The Caribbean or CARICOM heads of government speak strong enough to the bigger heads, to France and to America, concerning what need to be done from that level. Of course, the Bahamas is a little too small to really take on this much burden at this time.
In addition to Haiti, High Priest McKinney believes that the Rastafarian community should also be compensated for the years of oppression suffered from the world superpowers. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks for that, Joshua. And now to a man who tried to rape a woman in her home. 36-year-old landscaper Rashad Johnson, who faced a potential maximum sentence of life imprisonment, was jailed for 15 years today. Johnson was unanimously convicted of assault with intent to rape following a trial on July 26, 2022. According to the evidence, Johnson went to the 18-year-old victim's home, which also doubled as a mom-and-pop shop, to buy cigarettes. Prosecutors say when the victim turned her back to get the cigarettes, Johnson followed the woman inside and pushed her down on the sofa. That's when prosecutors say Johnson laid on top of the woman and tried to take off her jumpsuit at gunpoint. After a 20-minute-long struggle, Johnson gave up and left. The victim gave her mother a description of the assailant, and she recognized him as a former schoolmate. As a result, she gave the police a photo of the suspect. The victim picked Johnson from a 12-man lineup and identified him in court. Now, in passing the sentence, Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson noted that Johnson had a prior conviction for indecent assault, showed no remorse, and pulled a gun on his victim. Meanwhile, police are investigating another dog attack after a man was attacked by his friend's pit bull around 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. Police say the victim was visiting a friend's home off Carmichael Road when he was attacked by a 2-year-old pit bull and suffered injuries to his face, arms, and legs. EMS took the man to hospital for further attention, while police say the dog was detained by animal control. Police encouraging the public to license their dogs at the Department of Agriculture on Gladstone Road. It carries a fee of $6.72. Now, failure to license your dog will result in a $250 fine. And firefighters in Grand Bahama busy last evening extinguishing a blaze in Regency Park subdivision. And take a look at this video. The fire could be seen just a few yards away from homes. Fire crews were able to contain the blaze, and that's not the only fire they had to fight, as thick smoke and flames were evidence of another blaze in bushes off Coral Road today. Now, according to officials, both fires have been extinguished. They're advising the public to avoid burning debris on their properties, which can lead to larger fires. And also on Grand Bahama, police investigating a traffic accident that has left a man in hospital. Police say the crash causing the vehicle to flip over. This latest incident prompting calls for government to fix ongoing issues at Fishing Hole Road. Just this week, Our News spoke with the senior works engineer for the Family Islands, David Cox, who says the causeway is not up to standard and plans are underway to repave the roadway within 2 weeks. This Grand Bahama resident says something needs to be done immediately.
You know, you're driving on this road, there's so many holes, you have to twist and turn to get where you're going, and then people are overtaking, it makes it even worse. So I think by now, this has been from last year, it's time now for this bridge, this road to be fixed. This is just too long.
All right, Artaya Hall, she's been following the story for us, and she'll have more on this coming up in Our News at 7:30. A whole lot more to get to, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures, and meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg, I'm seeing 76 tonight. I know that we're expected to see those temperatures climb up some more.
During the daytime hours, low 70s, upper 60s for the nighttime. But you did mention that story earlier with the fire in Freeport.
Yeah.
It is extremely dry out there. The relative humidity is very low, so it's extremely dry. Try not to start any fires because that's going to complicate matters because of the dry situation.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg.
76 degrees, as I mentioned, outside our studios. Clear skies. The winds are going to fall off some more, but they're out of the south at 6 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature is at 75. Temperatures around the islands tonight, 77 in Freeport as well as in Marshall, Barbacoa, 80 in Alistown, Bimini. We pick up 78s in Great Harbor Key as well as in Nicholstown, Andros. 76 here in the capital once again, and 76 in Governor's Harbor. Central Bahamas, 78 in Kemps Bay. We pick up 77s in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Georgetown, Exuma. Also in Deadman's Key, Cobatown, San Salvador, 74. And into the southeast Bahamas, 78 in Duncantown, Rycat Island. More 77s in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island. Delectable Bay, Abrahams Bay, Providenciales, and Matthew Town, Nago, rounding out our temperature profile at 79. Nothing to talk about. Dry air mass, ridge of high pressure still in charge, and as I mentioned earlier, the humidity is very low, so it's extremely dry out there. And of course, there's a high chance for fires if you do happen to have a fire burning outside. So try not to start any fires. But this ridge is going to remain with us until about Saturday, Sunday, before we see a weak front that's going to clip the northwest Bahamas, but no real precipitation expected with that frontal boundary. That's your first check of weather. Stick with us to look at your extended forecast.
Still to come on our news, new food security solutions are hatching, and we'll tell you how. Plus, a creative solution for outfitting a Grand Bahama playground. But first, celebrating the people who keep the wheels turning on the Family Islands. Find out more when Our News Live at 7 continues.
When we run because we can. We leap because we're free. And we push because it's what we do best. Our TV, home of the 50th CARICOM Games.
Yesterday, we told you about the launch of the Golden Yolk Egg Production Project, but exactly how does it play into achieving the goal of food security? Marlena Leonard explains in this report.
With more than $15 million already invested, the new Golden Yolk Egg Production Project is a part of a push for food security. They're hoping to make a dent in food imports by taking Bahamian egg production from 750,000 to 27 million eggs annually. Agriculture Minister Clay Sweeting says contracting farmers has already been shown to be successful in the region.
Once we're 100% egg production, we'll actually reduce food imports by 1%, which is a big step in the right direction.
According to the project's informational video, the 7 new poultry houses in New Providence and 38 in the Family Islands are built to withstand more extreme weather patterns like hurricanes and higher temperatures. Poultry Technical Services was contracted by the government to help design the poultry houses. Their general manager, Stuart Sterling, tells us,
everything that we're working on is houses that can be managed on a large scale and a small scale. So the houses here are going to be on a larger scale. On the smaller islands, they'll be able to fit into a small family need. So we're working on a project that can help from large size to a small size. We come down and help train and get everybody situated as far as putting the houses up. That way, when they're ready to grow, that everything's done properly.
Sterling says things could be up and running by the end of 2023 and adds that if all goes well, we could possibly see our stores stocked with the all Bahamian eggs by early next year. The program promises to create 90 new direct jobs. For farmers who are concerned about how this may impact the industry's status quo, Sweeting says it's simply a more holistic approach.
This project is to create an environment where the vets, the inputs out in the feed, and other services are provided. But the farmers are in charge of their own destiny. So it's up to those that are contracted by the special purpose vehicle to farm their houses. So some farmers might be more productive than others. So for me, I think, it's an holistic approach.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Marlena. Well, March will now be recognized as Local Government Month. Minister of Agriculture, Marine Resources and Family Island Affairs, Clay Sweeting, announcing the proclamation from the Prime Minister this morning and sharing the importance of recognizing the people who help Family Islands to function every day.
March is a month in which we pause and educate the wider community on what we do and what this system of local government is all about. It is also a time to which we pause to celebrate our accomplishments and attempt in some small measure to say thank you to all those persons that give life to local government every day. For many, this is an exciting time in 33 districts. They are arranging various local events in celebration of Local Government Month.
There will also be a series of celebrations to mark the month, highlighting local government workers across the archipelago. Here's the Family Island Affairs Minister offering this outline of events.
In New Providence, through the department headquarters, there is a schedule of events. A local government delegation will visit the House of Assembly, a fun run walk and health screening, a church service, the flag raising ceremony, celebrating women in local government luncheon, and a gala banquet.
All right, now the focus on the month of activities is raised questions about government's plans for local government. We'll have that angle coming up in Our News at 7:30. When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as police arrest 3 people after a migrant boat shipwrecks near Italy. Plus, Prime Minister Philip Davis makes the Bahamas a stance clear on the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And later, how a recycled material is getting a second life at a Grand Bahama school. The details when Our News returns.
When we run because we can. We leap because we're free. And we push because it's what we do best. Our TV, home of the 50th CARICOM Games.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Italian police have arrested 3 people on suspicion of people trafficking following the deaths of at least 64 migrants in a shipwreck off the country's southern coast on Sunday. Authorities say the 3 detained were a Turkish man and 2 Pakistani nationals. Police say they allegedly asked the migrants for about $8,500 each to make the long journey. Officials warning the final death toll could climb to more than 100. Russian President Vladimir Putin signing a bill today formally suspending the last remaining nuclear arms treaty with the United States. Putin declared in his State of the Nation address last week that Moscow was suspending its participation in the 2010 New START treaty, charging that Russia cannot accept U.S. inspections of its nuclear sites at a time when Washington and its NATO allies have openly declared Russia's defeat in Ukraine as their goal. On Monday, a top U.S. arms control official strongly criticized the move by Russia, but noted that Washington will try to work with Moscow to continue its implementation. Bola Tinubu from Nigeria's ruling party has taken a strong lead as results are declared from Saturday's presidential election amid opposition protests. The 70-year-old wealthy businessman and former governor of Lagos State has 39% of votes counted so far. Opposition parties have called for the election to be cancelled and rerun, alleging the inability of the Electoral Commission to upload results to its website, showing that the results had been manipulated. And huge rallies in several Mexican cities against what protesters say are government attempts to undermine the electoral authorities. The biggest was in Mexico City, where organizers say 500,000 people marched on the city's main plaza. Lawmakers last week voted to slash the budget of the National Electoral Institute and cut its staffing. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador accuses the INE of being partisan, but opponents describe the recent vote as an attack on democracy itself, pressing the Supreme Court to overturn them as unconstitutional.
This is the march where hundreds of thousands of citizens from across the country, representing millions, are defending democracy and confirming our trust in the judiciary to vote against the overhaul, which intends to load the dice in favor of the president's party and take away our right to vote freely.
Guyanese police say a newborn baby boy was found abandoned yesterday in Recess, Maiconi. The Guyana Police Force saying they received information that the child was located in an area by the seaside where bystanders directed police to the child's location, where officers retrieved him from the gift bag he was placed in. Officers say they took the child to Maiconi Public Hospital for treatment, where medical exams showed the child was in good health. And police in Peru say they found an ancient mummy in a delivery man's bag while doing a routine patrol. Officers say they decided to search his bag after he was allegedly acting drunk at an archaeological site in Piron. The mummy, which experts believe was between 600 to 800 years old, was found in the man's cooler bag. He told police that he had been sharing his room with the mummy and thought of it as his spiritual girlfriend. When asked where he got it, he told police it was previously owned by his dad, but didn't say how it came to be in his dad's possession. Now, experts discovered the mummy was actually an adult male. The man has been detained and is currently being investigated. And 1 year after Russia invaded Ukraine, Prime Minister Philip Davis says the Bahamas has to throw its support behind Ukraine. His comments follow a video message to CARICOM by Ukrainian Prime Minister Volodymyr Zelensky.
We have to support and condemn the invasion of Ukraine. In fact, I had the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, address CARICOM on the Friday morning that we're here, and he urged us to continue to support him.
Russia moved into Ukraine on February 24th last year, and since then, nearly 45,000 people have died, leaving approximately 14 million people displaced. Last week, the United Nations voted overwhelmingly to call for a cessation of hostilities in Ukraine and for Russia to withdraw its forces immediately. The resolution passed 141 to 7 with 32 abstentions.
It's never good to have precedents out there where one powerful country is able to, without impunity, invade others by insulting their sovereignty and right to determine their own destiny. That is something that is abhorrent to all international standards and abhorrent to the UN Charter of Rights of Nations that we've all signed on to.
Still to come on our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was February 28th and the 1920 birth of Bahamian artist Amos Ferguson. Plus, Greg is back with your extended weather forecast. And then in our news at 7:30, tourist arrivals are taking off so far in 2023. What the tourism minister has to say about growth so far this year. That story and more when our news continues.
When we run because we can. We leap because we're free. And we push because it's what we do best. Our TV, home of the 50th CARICOM Games.
Welcome back to our news. It's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was February 28th. Take a look. On this day in Bahamian history, in 1920, noted Bahamian artist Amos Ferguson was born in the forest on Great Exuma. The Bahamas Historical Society notes that Ferguson was an artist, upholsterer, furniture finisher, and house painter who did not focus on his artistic works until his 40s. He claimed his calling to paint was divinely inspired, as is reflected in his numerous canvases or biblical stories. A number of his works also focused on Bahamian life and culture. Ferguson gained international exposure in the 1970s when American collector Suki Miller bought several of his paintings, which the Historical Society notes would eventually lead to a show in the United States featuring his work. In 2005, Exuma Street in the Grove, Nassau was renamed Amos Ferguson Street. His home, which sits on that street, was converted into an art gallery. Ferguson died in Nassau in October 2012. He was 89. And finally, in world history, 2004 saw the resignation of Haitian President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. At President Aristide's request, the United States facilitated his safe departure from Haiti. The U.S. State Department noting the decision by President Aristide resolved the political impasse that was at the root of the violent unrest in Haiti at that time. The U.S. deployed a contingent of U.S. Marines as the initial contingent of a multinational interim force. And in 2012, the Vatican Secret Archives put on a public exhibition of some of its most important documents in celebration of its 400th birthday. The 50 miles of shelves were packed with the Pope's correspondences with everyone from Michelangelo, Voltaire, Mozart, Hitler, and Abraham Lincoln, among others, and were normally seen only by strictly vetted scholars. The exhibit was designed to counter some of the myths perpetuated by works of fiction like Dan Brown's Angels and Demons. Well, students at Hugh Campbell Primary now have a new place to play, and the new Fun Time facility was actually built using recycled material. Hutchinson Ports Freeport Container Port was behind the project that used recycled material from the port facility. FCP Employee Council coordinated the Special Community Initiative. Employee Council President Angelo Lockhart says the project aligns with the group's commitment to sustainability and their continued investment in education and social development.
After speaking with the school and getting the okay with senior management and the facilities team, it was an awesome task just to know that we're going to put a smile on these kids' faces.
And the new play area includes a seesaw, climbers, reading nooks, sand pit, and a bike trail. Preschool teacher Raquel Fernandez says the school appreciates the investment Principal of Hugh Campbell Primary, Tammy Elliott, echoing her sentiments, adding the kids can't get enough of the new play area.
I wanted to incorporate the use of sustainable materials in terms of upcycling wood. I was able to find a few things online that him and his team will be able to construct, and he was able to make my vision a reality, and I'm very thankful for that.
The kids are very excited to use all the equipment they're on. We are very excited to have so much variety with the activities, and they love it and they enjoy it every day.
All right, to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Natalia Hall. She's got the latest headlines. And Natalia, I know you're from Grand Bahamas, and you know I've got to ask. Hugh Campbell Primary, did you go there?
I did not, but my siblings attended that primary school. Cynthia Moses and Clifton Hall, they're all graduates of that school. And I understand our very own technical director, Kriston Saunders.
Wait, Kanye?
Kanye,
Kriston,
he's also a graduate of that school. So good stuff coming out of Hugh Campbell, and it's good to see.
I'm going to crack on him when I go in
there. It's good to see corporate Grand Bahama give back in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thanks so much, Ken. Well, the Grand Lucayan Resort back in the news tonight as the Deputy Prime Minister is on the defense over its sale. Meanwhile, we've got the latest on the country's tourism rebound as the numbers for January are in. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, the Deputy Prime Minister fires back at criticism of government's handling of the Grand Lucayan Resort. But first, tourist arrivals are up for the first month of 2023, what it means for the economy, and later, Grand Bahama motorists left frustrated after a Monday night crash on the Fishing Hole Road Causeway sends one driver to hospital. And members of the Rastafarian community speak up on government's silence over marijuana legislation. Our News Live at 7:30 starts in a moment.
When we run because we can. We leap because we're free. And we push because it's what we do best. Our TV, home of the 50th Carifta Games.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper revealing more than 150% uptick in tourist arrivals for the month of January. This as he assures his ministry will be working to ensure more airlift for the islands. Berthing McDermott has the details.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper says tourist arrivals for the month of January exceeded the same period in 2022.
We can tell you that we've had a phenomenal January to the tune of 150% greater than we saw in 2022. 2022 was also a great year, almost mirroring what we did in 2019. So any increase over 2022 is significant news.
The Ministry of Tourism recorded over 7 million tourist arrivals for 2022. Cooper acknowledging the direct link between tourism arrivals and airlift, which he says is on the rise.
All of the islands across the Bahamas, airlift is up, and we expect that it will match the growth that we're seeing in tourism. We're forecasting a 16% over 2019 levels up to the end of June.
The DPM made the revelation on the sidelines of the groundbreaking ceremony for a more than $352 million development for Montage Key Abaco. He says airlift to that island is expected to rise, which is significant as the island continues its rebound post-Hurricane Dorian.
We have steady airlift and it's growing. Delta American, we have a new airline that's going to be providing business class seats into this area. As you know, there's a close connection with Palm Beach and the Abacos. We expect it only to grow. The Ministry of Tourism and its partners will provide significant airlift to drive tourism and for the residents' convenience.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks, Berthany. Well, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper hitting back at criticism over the sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort. In May of last year, government revealed that Electra America Hospitality Group made a $100 million purchase offer for the resort. However, the deal fell through, and the Davis administration is now looking for a new buyer for the property. Cooper says the Davis administration is considering several developers.
Let me say that we are continuing to work with several developers who are interested in the Grand Lucayan Resort. We remain positive about the possible outcomes, and as soon as we have something more definitive, Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited is going to make an announcement.
A local resort is boasting of big business, and as you'll hear in this report, they hope to welcome even more visitors in the year ahead. Jamila Mizik reports.
Resort properties have reopened their doors, welcoming thousands of visitors back to Bahamian shores, and Sandals Royal Bahamian is one of them. General Manager Adrian Whitehead says business has been booming.
It's been crazy busy. I think within 1 or 2 days of us opening, we're actually full to the capacity that we had ready at that time. We've been running occupancies in the high 80s, low 90s right the way through. In 2 or 3 nights' time, I think I've got 1 room to sale. So it's been extremely busy for us, and it will continue to be. Our forward bookings are looking strong going into the new year. We continue to plan to continue to grow and to enhance the product that we have here.
He says they continue to market themselves and are looking to maintain that strong demand, adding that since reopening, their focus has been providing a safe and enjoyable experience for their guests.
The guest is expecting value for their money. They want to come away. They've been locked up for 2 years and they want to come out and enjoy. There is still a nervousness about travelling, without a doubt. COVID hasn't gone away and it's morphed into various different strains, as we're aware of. So maintaining a strong presence and maintaining protocols and maintaining the business level and the customer service level has been the key focus, and that's what we continue to do.
And while there are several Sandals resorts across the Caribbean and 2 here in the Bahamas, he shares what makes Sandals Royal Bahamian stand out from the rest.
Our grove and our entertainment, it is a completely different feel. And number 2 is our private island. It is absolutely drop dead gorgeous over there, as you can imagine. So you get 2 resorts in one, because effectively you can escape for the day to the private island, all included in the package that you're here right now. So involve the 2 and you have a vacation of a lifetime. Being this close to the States is just a quick jump as well for those of us that are coming over from the US. So it makes a great stay, a quick stay and an opportunity for you to enjoy some of the Bahamian culture at the drop of a hat.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
A 26-year-old man was injured during a shooting in the Nassau village area last night. Police say it happened around 10 on Alexandria Boulevard. They say that's when the victim noticed that he was being followed by a white Nissan March. The passengers reportedly opened fire at the victims and he was shot in the right arm. The victim was taken to hospital in a private vehicle where he is getting medical attention. Now police are still searching for those suspects. Police have charged a 29-year-old man who they say robbed a gas station of 2 Vitamalls and an unknown amount of cash. Prosecutors allege Lion Road resident Jeffrey Ferguson robbed a Rubis service station on February 12th. Police say a lone gunman entered the business around 1:20 p.m. and robbed the cashier of money before he helped himself to 2 Vitamalls before fleeing. Ferguson is accused of robbing the same gas station of $1.20 on January 8th. Additionally, he's accused of robbing Burnett North of $500 on the same date. Now, Ferguson did not have to enter pleas to the armed robbery charges when he appeared before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt. Bail was denied and he returns to court on May 18. A freak accident last night on Grand Bahamas Fishing Hole Road, sending a man to hospital with serious injuries. This latest incident is once again highlighting issues to that roadway. In this report, some motorists in Grand Bahama are speaking out.
That's bad, man. Breaking up people's cars.
That's Holmes Rock resident Jerome Russell responding to the latest crash on Monday night on the service road near the Fishing Hole Road Causeway. As you can see, the gray Chevy Cobalt is flipped over. The driver had to be taken to hospital for serious injuries, but Our News understands that he is in stable condition. This accident once again prompting residents to call on government to fix the Fishing Hole Road Causeway that's been closed from earlier this year following multiple car accidents. A service road is now open to the public, but according to residents, that road isn't sufficient.
They do Grand Bahama real bad. Look what we got. Just cleaned my car today. Just clean it. Look at it. Look at it. You think it's right? I live in Holmes Rock, and this is a serious matter.
This resident says something needs to be done immediately.
You know, you're driving on this road, there's so many holes, you have to twist and turn to get where you're going, and then people overtaking, it makes it even worse. So I think by now, this has been from last year, it's time now for this bridge, this road to be fixed. This is just too long.
Now, on Monday, I spoke with senior engineer for the Family Islands at the Ministry of Works, David Cox, who confirmed that following their assessment, it was discovered that the skid resistance on the causeway is not up to standard, adding that it is their plan to repave the causeway with asphalt within 2 weeks.
We're now in the process of preparing the contract document so the contractor could start working on getting this repaired. The estimate for the repairs is going to be 3 to 4 weeks.
It's the last day of February, and we saw sunny and pleasant conditions in the capital. Meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us now live from the Weather Center with a look at our current conditions. Now, Greg, March is tomorrow. What kind of temperatures can we expect for the new month?
You forgot one word.
What's that?
Warm. Very warm.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to continue this warm trend for the rest of the week as this high pressure remains across us. But the nighttime temperatures are comfortable, 74 degrees outside our studios right now in the clear skies. Your winds out of the south at 5 miles per hour, they're falling off, and once those winds fall off, temperatures will fall. Feels like 75. Satellite view, nothing happening. Ridge of high pressure in charge. That's going to, like I said, remain with us throughout the remainder of the week. Dry and hot conditions expected through that period. That's your quick check on weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, the Prime Minister labels the CARICOM mission trip to Haiti a success. We'll tell you why. Plus, what you could expect during tomorrow's mid-year budget debate. And later, the Village Road Improvement Project hits a major milestone. That's all coming up when our news returns.
When we run because we can. We leap because we're free. And we push because it's what we do best. Our TV. Home of the 50th CARICOM Games.
Prime Minister Philip Davis deeming Monday's mission to Haiti a success. Davis is giving the trip high marks because he says officials have identified common denominators to address the challenges that plague Haiti. Davis didn't reveal, however, what those are, but he did say the way forward doesn't call for outside manpower. There's no
commonality in respect to putting boots on the ground. The common denominator in that respect is that they need collaboration between ourselves and themselves, and not intervention where boots are on the ground.
The mission followed a CARICOM meeting that focused on the ongoing turmoil in Haiti. It was heard by Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness and included Immigration Minister Keith Bell, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe, and other CARICOM officials. The Prime Minister says the Bahamas will assist in empowering local law enforcement there.
Assisting with training, resourcing the Haitian National Police, training the police officers, assisting in them getting back up their institutions like the courts and the other supporting institutions for the administration of justice, ensuring that the other organs of government are propped up and properly resourced.
A tractor that was on site tearing down a home in the Bain and Grantstown community on Enia Street. The initiative carried out by Urban Renewal seeks to deter and eliminate areas and structures that promote criminal activity. State Minister for Social Services and Urban Renewal Lisa Ramming calling the demolition a crime prevention measure.
It's a crime preventative measure that was put in place even sometime in the Christie administration years ago, and we've seen it work, and so we decided that we're going to do it. However, we have police officers attached to every urban center, and they walk in the community, and it's an intelligence-led policing initiative as well, where they go around and they identify places that seem or possibly where crime can possibly occur, and our job is to somehow to eliminate that.
A member of Parliament for the area, Wade Watson, says a number of similar structures remain in the area, which he hopes can be torn down and replaced with brand new homes.
We have a number of homes in the area. I'm hoping that the minister will work with me and make certain that we can tear down a lot more of these homes. And in many cases, we can repurpose the land. We can repurpose the land so that we can build homes, because a lot of constituents in Bain and Grantstown would like to remain right within Bain and Grantstown. We can have new homes built right on these vacant properties once they're torn down.
Local government has evolved constantly over the past 150 years, and more changes may be on the way. Family Island Affairs Minister Clay Sweeting tells us some of the items the Local Government Review Committee is considering for the future.
With the submission of the Local Government Review Committee, there is anticipated to be more modern amendments to meet the needs of our local family island communities. We have to keep in mind all of these are suggestions because first of all they have to be drafted, carried to cabinet for cabinet's approval before being laid in the House. Well, some of the other suggestions would include some of the districts being changed from second schedule to third schedule or vice versa.
Now, there could also be changes to the names of local government positions, as well as the way local government officials are elected.
Some persons had mentioned of the name being changed from chief counselor to a mayor. Another suggestion was also that the chief counselor or the mayor gets elected separately from the council. But all of these are suggestions that would be inclusive in the document from the committee.
Yesterday, we gave you some insight on the mid-year budget, exactly what it is and why it's important. Now, our Sasha Lightborn dives a bit deeper as debate is set to begin on the 2022-2023 mid-year budget debate tomorrow. Here's that report.
Without a mid-year budget, the government would not be fully transparent about its fiscal responsibilities. That said, without those documents, it would be one full year before the government reports on financial transactions, including revenue performance, debt management, and fiscal strategy. But because there is a mid-year budget, typically communicated the last Wednesday in February, the government can give the public a snapshot of how it's doing.
If you have the mid-year budget, the government would have presented in May, June, budget approved in June, and you wouldn't know about the financial performance until the next year, May. The mid-year budget gives a half-year mark and say, okay, this is what I've done the first 6 months. It gives the government a chance to adjust.
Financial Secretary Simon Wilson has worked on mid-year budgets and the substantive budgets numerous times during his tenure in the Ministry of Finance. And just like the Prime Minister communicated last week when he gave the mid-year budget communication, the Financial Secretary also thinks we are, quote, on the right track. But as with any budget, things could change in the blink of an eye.
You could have an explosion of migrants from Haiti that could destroy our numbers. You could have a weather event that could destroy our numbers. You could have an ecological event that could destroy our numbers. So there's so much things that could really disrupt what we're doing. So we're grateful for where we are.
Tomorrow's mid-year budget debate will usher in long days and long nights as parliamentarians debate the latest numbers. We will hear from ministers in areas like education, tourism, housing, immigration, and the list goes on. And as is customary, the opposition will have their say about crunching the numbers and challenging the status quo. Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightborn.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When our news comes back from the break, the day motorists have been waiting for, the conclusion of the Village Road Improvement Project.
Plus, coming up in sports for tonight, the Sunland Baptist Stingers are Hugh Campbell champions once again, back-to-back. We'll tell you how it happened just ahead in sports.
Plus, what the local Rastafarian community has to say about government silence on legislation for the medicinal and recreational use of marijuana. We have the details when our news returns.
When we run because we can. We leap because we're free. And we push because it's what we do best. Our TV, home of the 50th Carifta Games.
This is our news. Welcome back. Village Road is now fully paved following months of reconstruction on the major thoroughfare. Ministry of Works resident engineer for the project, Albrion Simona Jr. says now that the portion of the work is complete, he says a few more additions will be made in the coming weeks.
Our intention is over the next few weeks to install the signage, install the striping, install signage, signals, and to also ensure that we reinstate anything that was damaged during the course of the work. So sidewalks, curbs, walls, and such were damaged.
Now, the price tag on the project was $6.4 million. And as for the concern that the road may be dug up in the near future, Simona says they've tried their best to avoid having to do so.
We've incorporated a lot of underground works wherein we've said, okay, we want to take this additional scope and do it now to prevent the urgent or the automatic need to go into the road. And so there's never a guarantee, but we do our best to mitigate. What we've actually done is install conduits across the road. So in the event a utility company needed to cross the road, rather than excavating the road, they're able to use those spare ducts, which they've actually used already. There have already been instances on Village Road where we've used the spare ducts to avoid having to excavate the roadway.
The Hugh Campbell Championship Trophy headed to Grand Bahama once again. I'm happy to hear it. Meanwhile, one of our college baseball players continues to shine. Here's Marcellus Hall with a check on sports.
All right, thanks, Natalia. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Last night, the Candlelight Gymnasium coming to life for the finale of the Hugh Campbell Basketball Championships. The Sunland Stingers looking to take the title back to Grand Bahama for the second straight year, standing in their way, the C.I. Gibson Rattlers. Let's take a look right now. Congratulations to the Hugh Campbell champions, the Sunland Baptist Stingers. They got it done last night against the C.I. Gibson Rattlers in a tough battle at the Candlelight Gymnasium. Sunland outlasting C.I. Gibson 64-52. Sunland winning every game of the tournament by double digits, and they take the title back to Grand Bahama. Congratulations once again going out to the Sunland Stingers, their fans, and their coaches. Now, moving right along, and shifting our attention now to some baseball, as one of our very own playing collegiate baseball these days, North Dakota State University is the place in case you want to check things out. A young man by the name of Dante Stewart, remember the name, he actually just played on our national squad and is actually a pretty good basketball player in his own right. Finished up with a couple of doubles, set a team record, as a matter of fact, school record with his third double in one game. And they get the win here. Big game for him. You can take a look at these doubles. Again, this young man has a big future in baseball. Keeping an eye on him and the NSU Demons as they continue the course of the regular season. And that's your check on sports here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Italia.
Still to come on our news, we're wrapping up February and heading into March. Greg is back with your extended weather forecast on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
When we run because we can. We leap because we're free, and we push because it's what we do best. Our TV, home of the 50th Carifta Games.
Welcome back to our news. We're heading into March tomorrow. Greg is back in the Weather Center with a look at our weather over the next few days. Now, Greg, I know you spoke about more warm temperatures for March. I hope not too warm, but
unseasonably warm. A little above our averages for this time of the year, so we don't really want to see the warm temperatures, but the high pressure system remains a dominant weather feature, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's going to remain with us throughout the remainder of the week. We do expect a weak cold front to get near the northern islands by Saturday, Sunday time frame, but that one is not going to bring much in terms of any relief. It's going to quickly pull out towards the east, and high pressure will build back across our area for that period. Nothing happening out there in our future forecast. Showers out there in the open Atlantic. A lot of high clouds moving across us as that high pressure system stays with us. And of course, just a spotty shower or two likely across the islands. Boating conditions for the northwest Bahamas, you're going to love this. The winds are going to be out of the south to southwest at 10 knots. Seas 1 to 3 feet. They will fall light and rebel at times. The low tide will be at 8:40 tonight. But the central and southeast Bahamas, east to southeast, flow at 10 to 15 knots, and they will also fall light and rebel at times. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day planner, quiet weather throughout the week and into Saturday. As a weak front approaches us by Saturday, Sunday, temperatures may take a dip by the early part of next week, and we could see 1 or 2 isolated showers by that time frame. That's a look at our weather. Back to you, Italia.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Italia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.